This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
The history of Louisiana's Seven Oaks Plantation is a regional tragedy of great significance, but it is also more. The story of Seven Oaks is an example of what can happen to any community when big business is allowed to trample history and heritage, and when local government forgets its ultimate responsibility to its own citizens. Seven Oaks Plantation is a symbol of the Old South. The once crumbling mansion, and so many like it from the Gulf to the East Coast, represent an era gone by, a time long ago faded into the past. These glorious structures also represent how we, as a society, deal with that troublesome yet awesome past. The plantations of the South and their inhabitants through the years were not singular isolated entities in history, but instead were tangled in a dense web of other plantations and plantation inhabitants like them all over the southern United States. This social, economic, and political web was embedded into the rich, intense culture of class and conflict, created and molded in a dynamic social hierarchy. As the 1970s approached, Seven Oaks Plantation, one of these great symbols of the South's past, became the center of a major political battle. This struggle, which had been slowly coming to a boil, gained momentum and within a few short years exploded into an outright brawl over the fate of one of the nation's most historic properties. Once the magnificent home of wealthy sugar planters, the Louisiana plantation in the middle of this fiasco stood crumbling as citizens, preservationists, and a few outspoken leaders begged for something to be done before this historic home was lost forever. Meanwhile, railroad officials who owned the historic property, along with many local politicians, rigidly fought any effort to save the crumbling mansion. What led to this fiery battle was a string of events as intriguing as the South itself. Indeed, these diverse events in the history of the plantation are what make the property so historic and win it the reverence of so many citizens. The plantation's unique history from the earliest days of French colonization to contemporary times is as varied as its ever-changing name. The old plantation house, which once stood at the corner of River Road and the Old Spanish Trail, now Bridge City Avenue in present-day Westwego, Louisiana, has been known by many names and has served many purposes. The French Minister of State and his noble associates first developed the area nearly concurrently with the founding of New Orleans. They called their early settlement Petit Desert. This primitive settlement, a swampy wilderness across the Mississippi River from the newly born Nouvelle Orleans, quickly developed into a busy depot for slaves and goods and later grew into a bustling plantation.